I think for us, it's really a testament for what we've done over the last 3 years. I mean, 3 years ago, we were sitting in a garage, and now we're moving to a production commercialization phase. And to have a group like Virgin supporting that and actually helping us do that transition means we're doing something right. So I think it's really exciting for us to have a partner that's going to be taking us from, I'll say, post-garage to actually taking people down the tube.
So it's a signal to future potential customers out there, but I guess it's also a big signal to potential investors, too.
Yeah, and I think for us, having that kind of, I'll say, credibility and knowing that we're creating a new mode of transportation, and then we've got people who've actually done that before and created new forms of that experience, I think I can't find a better way to say, if you've got new transportation, let's reinvent the experience and not do the things that we don't like about current travel.
Sir Richard, we had you on the other day to talk about this, about where you see this really heading. But what captured you when you sat down with them?
Well, first of all, we invest in people. Josh used to work at Virgin Galactic before, and we were incredibly sad to lose him at Virgin Galactic. And it's his genius that has actually really created Hyperloop One, Virgin Hyperloop One. And I have a train company, I think the largest train company in the UK. The fastest those trains can go is about 130 miles an hour. The idea of being able to transport people at 600-700 miles an hour is just too exciting. So, you know, we wanted to do it for our passengers. We wanted to do it for the fact that you know, all over the world that we go, people are saying, you know, they would just love the opportunity of you know, making countries a lot smaller and making city pairs a lot smaller. So it excites us enormously. And I also went out and to the desert, saw it running, and it is ridiculously exciting.
Josh, let's talk about where you are right now, how fast things go, what you plan to get to. Your last test showed what?
It's about 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, just under?
Yeah, and Richard and the Virgin team came out in May and got to walk inside the tube, got to experience the whole thing. And for us, that was right before we actually did the test back in July. And now we're doing the airlock, right? So we're putting that in, which is how you'd actually get the vehicle inside the tube when you're moving in the production environment. So from a station into the tube, that way you're having these pods zip through very quickly. And we're actually testing that within a couple weeks here, and then we'll be going a bit faster as well. So
when do you get up to 600, 700 miles an hour?
we need a little bit more tube for that. We only have about 500 yards of tube, so if we need about 2 to 3 kilometers, about 2 miles worth of tube to get up to those kind of speeds.
Yeah, don't try it yet.
Sport mode.
That would be some serious,
sport mode.
Serious G-forces, starting and stopping in 500
Well, there's no G-force
in it, right.
if it's straight. I mean, do you want to explain that? I mean,
what about accelerating? But during acceleration?
Not much, is there?
Yeah, it's about what you'd feel at an aircraft to take off. And then once
But
you're
at 500 feet at the acceleration you're talking about, you can't get anywhere near 700 miles an hour.
correct. So we're accelerating.
If you could, the acceleration you'd feel, right?
So this is the part that I just if it's a physics thing that I don't understand, which is, let's say you built one of these trains from New York to DC, which would be perfect, selfishly, for those of us here. But there are people who are going to want to get off in Philly and maybe other places, or is it just? And how can these pods jump off the track and keep? I mean, because how big are the pods?
So they're about 40 to 50 person-sized pods, anywhere on that order. So instead of actually having the vehicles like a whole train, you're able to send like think an individual car.
Right.
And then you're only going to Philadelphia, you're only going to Baltimore, you're only going to DC.
But you've got pods behind you.
You've got pods behind you, and the fact that we have this maglev, right? Now, maglev has this horrible stigma of being really expensive, outdated, and all this other stuff, but we've got a new version of that.
Okay.
And so what that allows us to do is digital switching. So you're allowed to basically turn, imagine an off-ramp on a highway, as opposed to having this track actually have to move. And so because you can do that, you can have pods follow each other very, very closely.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.